You've probably wondered why change feels so hard, even when you want it. You know what to do. You've read the advice. You've promised yourself that this time will be different, and yet you've fallen back into the same patterns. This isn't because you're lazy, weak, or undisciplined. There's an invisible force working against you, and it's not your fault. Most people believe resistance to change is a motivation problem, but motivation isn't the issue. The real problem is that your brain is wired to protect what's familiar, not what's better. It treats change as a potential threat, even when that change could improve your life. So when you try to shift your habits, your mindset, or your direction, your brain quietly pushes back. It creates doubt, discomfort, procrastination. Not because you're failing, but because it's doing exactly what it was designed to do. Until you understand this force, every attempt at change will feel like swimming upstream. You'll blame yourself, push harder, and wonder why nothing sticks. This chapter is about awareness, because once you see what's really holding you back, the struggle starts to make sense, and the path forward becomes clearer. Once you understand that your brain resists change, the next question becomes uncomfortable, but necessary. Why does comfort feel so powerful? Comfort doesn't always look like ease or happiness. Often it looks like habits you've outgrown. Routines that drain you, and patterns you know aren't working but keep repeating anyway. Your brain prefers predictability over progress. Familiar discomfort feels safer than unfamiliar improvement. That's why you can stay stuck in situations that frustrate you. Why you delay decisions you know you need to make. Why you wait for the right moment that never seems to arrive. Comfort whispers, "At least you know this pain." Change demands uncertainty, and uncertainty feels risky. So instead of moving forward, you stall, you overthink, you tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, next week, or when conditions feel better. But comfort has no intention of letting you grow. Its only goal is to keep things the same. This chapter isn't about rejecting comfort completely. It's about recognizing how quietly it controls your choices. Because once you see how comfort keeps you passive, you stop mistaking stillness for safety and begin questioning what staying the same is actually costing you. At some point, being busy stops feeling productive and starts feeling heavy. You're not just doing tasks anymore, you're chasing relief. Relief from guilt, relief from the fear that if you slow down, you'll fall even further behind. So you keep going. You stack commitments. You say yes when you should pause. You fill every gap with something useful, hoping that one more effort will finally make things feel settled. But here's the truth. Constantly catching up keeps you stuck. When your energy is spent reacting to messages, deadlines, expectations, there's no room left to think, choose, or create. You're moving fast, but not forward. This kind of busyness quietly erodes clarity. You lose touch with what actually matters because everything feels urgent. And when everything is urgent, nothing is important. Notice how often your days are shaped by other people's priorities, how rarely you stop to ask whether what you're doing aligns with who you're becoming. This chapter isn't about doing less for the sake of rest. It's about recognizing that endless motion without intention slowly disconnects you from yourself. and that awareness is the first step back to control. By now, it's clear that the problem isn't effort, it's overload. When your mind is constantly full, even simple decisions start to feel exhausting. You're not tired because you're lazy, you're tired because you're carrying too much, all the time. Mental clutter builds quietly. Open loops, unfinished thoughts, tasks you're half committed to, expectations you didn't choose but feel responsible for. None of them feel heavy on their own, but together they drain your focus and fragment your attention. This is why rest doesn't always help. You can sleep and still feel scattered. You can take breaks and still feel behind, because the weight isn't physical, it's cognitive. When your mind is crowded, clarity becomes impossible. You jump between thoughts without finishing any of them. You react instead of decide. You consume instead of create. And slowly, your sense of direction fades. Notice how often you reach for distraction, not because you're bored, but because your mind feels noisy. Silence feels uncomfortable when there's too much unresolved inside. This chapter is about seeing the real cost of mental clutter. Not just stress, but lost creativity, weakened focus, and a growing disconnect from what truly matters. You don't need more motivation. You need space, and that realization sets the stage for everything to realign. Once the noise is identified and the clutter is acknowledged, something important happens. Your definition of progress begins to change. For a long time, progress meant staying busy, doing more, moving faster, filling every gap with action. But real progress doesn't feel frantic, it feels intentional. This is where alignment begins. You stop asking, "Am I doing enough?" and start asking, "Am I doing the right things?" That shift changes everything. Real progress is quieter. It's choosing fewer priorities and committing to them fully. It's finishing what matters instead of starting everything. It's creating space so your energy isn't constantly divided. You begin to notice the difference between motion and momentum. Motion keeps you occupied. Momentum moves you forward. One is loud and exhausting. The other is calm and sustainable. This chapter isn't about slowing down for the sake of slowing down. It's about clarity. When your actions align with your values, effort stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling purposeful. Progress isn't measured by how much you juggle, it's measured by how clearly you move. And once you redefine progress this way, the constant feeling of being busy starts to lose its grip. Because now, you're no longer chasing productivity, you're building direction. At this point, the problem is no longer invisible. You know why you feel busy. You know what's draining your focus. And now the solution becomes simple, though not easy. Doing fewer things is not a step backward, it's a return to control. Most people don't lack time or effort, they lack boundaries. They say yes too often, chase too many priorities, and spread their attention so thin that nothing meaningful gets finished. Intentional living changes that. You choose what deserves your energy, and you protect it. This isn't about minimalism for aesthetics. It's about precision. When you remove the unnecessary, what remains gains power. Your focus deepens, your work improves, your mind becomes quieter. Progress accelerates not because you're doing more, but because you're no longer distracted. Fewer tasks, clearer priorities, deliberate action. This is how momentum is built. Not through hustle, not through overload, but through alignment between effort and intention. When you commit to fewer things and do them fully, busyness fades, and in its place, something rare appears: clarity, direction, and a sense that your time finally belongs to you. That's what real productivity feels like.